I read it when I was in middle school, and then when they were making it into a movie and I got an audition for it, I reread it, and then now I've probably read it like 7 times, so I'm very familiar with the book now.
The book wrestles with a lot of bigger questions that it doesn't necessarily answer, but it's after something beyond what you might expect from coming of age, a high school story. And it's really wrestling with issues of life and death, the meaning of life, how to live a more than ordinary life, seeking your great perhaps. There's just big ideas that are at the heart of this book that we also really wanted to make sure we honored and explored. The characters are so well drawn. And so casting was going to be so critical. Finding the perfect Alaska was going to be no easy task. Finding Miles, finding the Colonel, Takumi, this whole group of characters that are so well drawn and unique in the book, and finding actors who could fulfill those roles. And I feel incredibly good about the cast that we have.
The ideas of everything kind of being your first love and your first friendship, and just being that age, remembering what that was like, what you go through. I took a little bit of everything really, and then kept building up on that.
Well, I think that Miles is a really good listener, and I think that's evident in the book. Obviously, he's narrating, so you're really in his head. That was something that was really important to me, and I think he's also someone who is so passionate about life and wants to learn, and to me is a pretty fragile person as well, and that was something that I think was important getting across, and I think through this experience he really has to see what he's made out of and grow a lot.
I'm a prankster, I'm not gonna lie to you. I love scaring people, but I grew up like that. I grew up in a family where you don't really go to sleep around my family. So this is like a dream come true to me, to be getting, to be on such an incredible show, just having so much fun. It's crazy.
The eagle isn't super well defined in the book. He's very much through Miles's point of view, and he's very much like a stern, sort of no-nonsense guy. And I think he's written very different than me personally. Like, this is a pretty progressive school, so why does he have these sort of very strict ideas about how the kids should behave and how strictly the rules should be followed? But yeah, and also humanizing him a little bit more, because once you actually see these characters not just from Miles's point of view, that you have to open them up a little bit more, and both Josh and Stephanie have been great about the conversation surrounding it.
I don't know that people know how styling Takumi is in the book, but let me tell you, Takumi got drip in the show. I think a swag is another way of saying it, or just somebody just shows up every time. I don't know, I think that's a good way of putting it. Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go with that.
John has been an incredible partner in this. About a year ago, Stephanie and I flew out to Alabama and went to the high school that he went to, the real Culver Creek, called Indian Springs, and he met us there, and he was our guide, and he brought his yearbooks, and he kind of just took us through his life at that time.
I was so fortunate that John, after I found out I was going to get to do it, he called me right away, and he gave his support tenfold, and then myself and Kristine and Sarah, who did the first episode, all were just with him in that space for a weekend, and so he shared so much of his life, and he was just, so much was kind of coming back to him, and that was such a special thing. And I mean, I still feel like I'm not worthy to get to tell this story in any type of way, but I do what I'm told, and so I guess they like me enough.
But after just having a lot of conversations with John Green, actually, and getting to just get his blessing on him trusting me with, how I view her journey, has been incredible, and I'm trying just to focus on what's in the book and what's been in the script and the conversations between the directors and John Green himself.
He helped bring everybody into the world and into his vision very generously. He reads all the material, he watches all the cuts, he gives his thoughts, and he's very generous both with his time and also with allowing us to make this adaptation in the way that we feel is best for this medium. He said, I wrote the book, and the book was my expression of this story, and I understand television's a different medium, and he's been really supportive, and some of the stuff he's loved best that we've done is new stuff that we created for the series. So he's been an incredible partner and a guiding light for all of us. And I think some of the advantages in terms of translating it to a limited series was you don't have to cram everything in to an hour and a half or 2 hours. These are characters and these are scenes that you can really open up and explore, and the idea of taking something like Thanksgiving. You know, everybody clears out of the school and it's just Miles and Alaska alone together for the first time at this school, and the adventures they get up to and going to the Colonel's. Imagining that as its own episode and all of the space that opened up to delve even deeper into these characters.
Josh and Stephanie have done such a great job of keeping John Green's vision on who the Colonel is alongside who the show portrays. I think he's exactly the same. It surprised me how closely they kept him to being who the guy I read in the book. I was like really excited about that, because in the book he was read as like an exciting guy. He had a lot of fire in him, and it's exactly what I thought it would be.
I mean, there's just so much more time we spend with her, and seeing how she interacts more with her friends and with Miles and everyone else around. So just seeing how her interactions with them told me a lot about her and her alone times. Just those little bits say so much about her that I didn't fully get in the book, from the book. So it's just been more so those peaceful moments that we get to explore in the show.
And I think that, you know, you really do get to see her perspective and why she likes likes Miles at all, whether it's just as a friend or something else. And the thing that I so loved about the book, and that is so wonderful about getting to do this as a miniseries, is that you really just feel like you're getting to spend each day with these kids, and you're really getting to grow with them, and everything feels very earned, and things can take their time. And so I hope that all of the relationships in the show really grow with that kind of pace.
Anytime I've ever done a draft of this, and there have been many drafts over many years, somebody always says, but you left out this line. So we really tried over the course of these 8 hours to get as much of that iconic John Green dialogue into the show. Inevitably, we probably left out something just because it didn't really translate to the screen, but to the best of our abilities, we really mined the material for all of those great lines.